Kami akan tampilkan pemain-pemain industri, terutamanya dalam industri hiburan, dalam memperkatakan banyak isu sebenarnya. Tapi salah satunya ini merupakan mungkin satu perkara yang sangat baik sekali untuk kita kongsikan, iaitu memasuki 2021, Astro Shaw tampil dengan sebuah filem yang diinspirasikan daripada latar belakang ketika negara kita berhadapan dengan Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan, sama ada yang pertama atau yang kedua. Filem Kerana Korona mempersembahkan 3 cerita yang mempunyai pertalian dengan satu harapan, telah pun mula ditayangkan bermula daripada 21 Januari tempoh hari di Astro First, dan ia merupakan filem arahan Kabir Batia. Apa yang menariknya mengenai filem ini adalah gabungan Rashidi Ishak dan juga Rita Rudaini, yang seperti mana kita boleh lihat daripada filem Kabir sebelum ini dalam Cinta, Hafizi.
Betul, dan menariknya lagi, rata-rata komen mengenai filem Kerana Korona adalah apabila kisah yang dipaparkan sangat kena dengan situasi semasa pada ketika ini. Selain ia membawa penonton lebih menghayati nilai murni serta melihat dari sudut positif di sebalik pelaksanaan Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan PKP itu sendiri. Macam babak keluarga, ia menyaksikan hakikat PKP ini memberi peluang untuk lebih memperbaiki serta mengeratkan lagi hubungan bersama orang tersayang. Dan kita nak bercakap dengan orang yang penting dalam filem ini, dan pagi ini kita ada pengarahnya, Kabir Batia, dan salah seorang pelakon yang menjayakan filem ini, Umi Nazira, di talian Skype ketika ini. Assalamualaikum, selamat pagi Umi, dan good morning Kabir.
Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, hi Kabir. So we want to start with you first. Kabir, we would like to, we will never forget your movie like Cinta, Sepi, Gila Baby, and so many directed by you, Kabir. And you once again managed to bring the same emotion to the audience through Kerana Korona. How is the idea started?
The idea really started from, it is from Astro Shaw. Astro Shaw has its own writer's pool, which is a really good thing. And they sort of thought that I'm the right person, I suppose, because of the stuff I've done before. It's an omnibus, it's multiple stories, and that's how they brought me, on board. And I also got a chance to choose my own producer. And so after that started the whole process of fine-tuning the idea based on my experiences in the past, and then bringing some truthfulness, because we've all gone through the same thing. So it was a bit of a collaborative process, but more credit goes to the Astro Shaw writers.
Okey, Umi pula, adakah ini pertama kali Umi berlakon di bawah arahan Kabir, dan juga Umi memegang watak jana, iaitu seorang petugas barisan hadapan? Mungkin boleh ceritakan juga mengenai watak yang dipegang oleh Umi.
Tak, ni kali ketiga actually Umi berlakon di bawah arahan Kabir. Kali ni Umi pegang karakter sebagai seorang doktor. And sebenarnya masa ni, cerita ni dia berkisahkan masa awal-awal kita tahu COVID masuk dekat dalam Malaysia ni. Kita tahu COVID. Dan masa tu, my first scene is about dia baca cerita, COVID ni puncanya datang ramai daripada foreigner. So, konflik Dr. Jana ni adalah sama ada dia patut tolong foreigner undocumented ataupun tidak. Itulah satunya konflik dalam cerita ni. Dia sebenarnya menunjukkan saya seorang yang agak judgemental lah. Tapi towards the end you will see that sebenarnya as a human being we should help everyone in need.
Umi sendiri, suami juga merupakan seorang doktor. Adakah ada sedikit belajar pengalaman dan mungkin cara-cara daripada suami?
Ataupun ambil mood sendiri sebagai doktor?
Sebenarnya semuanya saya belajar daripada dia. Tentang medical stuff lah, anything medical related. Dan dia pantau lah apa yang macam, sebab ada satu sini saya kena pakai PPE suit. Dan macam mana nak kena check kalau orang ni asthmatic. So itulah yang saya belajar daripada dia, macam mana nak tanya orang tu, orang tu tengah ada masalah untuk breathing, and what should you tell or ask that person bila that person tengah menghadapi masalah asma. Itulah saya.
Okey, jadi kita juga ingin mengetahui dari segi bagaimana proses pembikinan filem ini. And Kabir, When did the shooting begin? How many days? And what is the most difficult things you find when filming this movie, Kabir?
Okay. Should I go first? Okay. We started shooting in October. We were planning since I think August or so. So 2 months of planning, and then we shot straight a 10-day schedule. I think, so I mean, it was quite well planned, and the whole idea was to know exactly what you need. And we were also very aware of all the problems that we might face at that time. We didn't have the second wave, so actually it was a good period. But just before we started shooting, we started hearing that there might be a problem. And I think it's very frustrating for a filmmaker like me who hasn't shot all year, and then I was like, no, nothing can go wrong. So I think what we try to do, and which is what everybody should try to do, is that your story, it all starts with story. So you can control your story in this time to make sure there's minimum movement. And that was always the challenge, that we don't have to move too much. Or even then I had a scare because I was using an app, which is my Selasa, and it said I'm high risk, and I was like, no way, because I've not been really anywhere. So I had to go towards leave the set, go to a hospital, but halfway through I switched to the app, and I was back to low risk. So those are some of the things that were a little bit glitchy also from the side. So the main thing was actually making sure the crew was well protected, and everything went with the right norms.
Yeah, Kabir, I would like to touch about the storyline, because many commenters, netizens out there said that the storyline is very relatable to what is happening in reality during MCO. Where is the inspiration come from?
I think we all have a bit of ourselves in these stories. Whether it is living, staying at home, having a difficult time with your spouse and your children, getting to know them. It's a very, very weird thing when you go through it for the first time after, I suppose, forever. So there's a lot of that going on. We try to treat it with as much maturity as possible, and that's very important. And then you're also dealing with a team who's, infatuated. All of us can relate to it, so we wanted that to be, let's break the rules, and then see what happens. So that's typically a teenage way of seeing things. And then we also wanted to, at the same time, look at other people, like older generation. And again, we wanted to neighbors. And so these stories are all something that we could all, dig into and think into. For me, I think the personal one was the one which is Umi's story, and the immigrant story. I mean, me being an immigrant, and I was very aware of how we look at the other immigrants as well. I myself have had one or two problems that I sorted out, but we actually made an effort to base it on people we know, and we shot in those locations as well. We shot the scenes at the real quarters, workers' quarters. And gentleman, unfortunately, the gentleman who was playing the character passed away, I think a month, I think just before its release. About 2 months ago. So that was kind of life and art process.
Okey, kita nak teruskan kepada Umi semula. Umi, kerana kalau kita lihat kepada pembikinan filem Kerana Korona ini, ia dibuat rakaman ni dalam keadaan norma baru. Jadi mungkin dapat ceritakan dari segi pengalaman waktu menjalani pembikinan filem ini. Kerana kita tahu apabila bercakap mengenai norma baru ni semestinya ada penjarakan fizikal, perlu kita memakai pelitup muka dan sebagainya. Mungkin Umi boleh ceritakan sedikit perkongsian mengenai pembikinan filem dengan keadaan norma baru ini.
Sebagai seorang pelakon, kita tak bolehlah nak pakai mask all the time, kan? Tapi yang saya tengok dengan kru-kru, everyone on set, semuanya memang sangat mematuhi SOP, especially set KB ni. Semua orang akan pakai mask, and semua orang akan pakai hand sanitizer all the time. And another thing yang berbeza adalah kita tak boleh makan buffet. Macam sebelum ni kita boleh makan buffet. Sekarang ni kita kena makan ikut satu bungkus satu orang, and tak boleh nak bersilaturahim sangat lah. So everyone will stay in the car atau dekat set tempat-tempat orang masing-masing lah. And bagi pendapat saya tak ada masalah sebenarnya nak syuting sebab okey je everyone, sebab kita kalau orang-orang set sebenarnya kita habis syuting kita balik rumah. Lepas tu the next day kita pergi syuting balik. So technically kita sebenarnya jumpa orang yang sama. Satu circle yang sama je. Kita tak jumpa orang lain. So bagi saya tak ada masalah pun kalau nak syuting, insyaAllah. Kalau kita semua ikut SOP lah. Seperti mana yang saya dah shoot masa di norma baru ni dalam 3 projek. Satu saya buat series, satu super tele dan satu tele movie. So far alhamdulillah okey dan tak ada jangkitan pun dekat dalam set.
Ya, melihat daripada jalan cerita Kerana Korona tu yang menggabungkan 3 cerita ya Umi, mungkin Umi sendiri antara 3 cerita tu mana yang mungkin related ataupun ada mengena dengan Umi sikit?
Kena mana? Parents lah kot. Parents macam Kak Rita dengan Abang Rashidi kan diorang paranoid kes anak diorang tua kan. So bagi saya sebab ada anak kecil kat rumah, so saya agak paranoid lah datang balik rumah tu, make sure I akan mandi and everything because ada anak kecil kat rumah kan. Tambah-tambah lagi sekarang saya pula tengah pregnant lagi lah, saya siap-siap I need to hold and not tak boleh berlakon lah for time being.
Itu sebenarnya ya, itu sebenarnya kekuatan cerita Kerana Korona ni, kerana ia sangat dekat dengan hati masyarakat ketika menjalani PKP. Kita pun sekarang ni tengah menjalani PKP, pastinya memori masa PKP 1 tu lebih segar lagi lepas melihat atau menonton Kerana Korona. Baik, kita akan berhenti berehat seketika, kembali selepas ini.
Malaysia akan terus mengekalkan kedudukan kompetitif sebagai destinasi pelaburan dan memudahkan usaha melakukan perniagaan.
We continue to look for ways to improve our tax and investment incentives to ensure Malaysia remains competitive.
Ribu perniagaan telah gulung tikar sejak PKP 2.0 dilaksanakan.
A lot of SME are not allowed to operate during this pandemic.
Bagi sebulan penuh Januari, KLCI turun 3.7% bulan ke bulan.
Perjanjian Bangkok 1909 ditandatangani oleh British dan Siam. Sebalik. Apakah nama kamu? Nama aku inilah. Guna Pahit. Adakah Tuan Hamba ingin menolong Berita merampas kota Melaka yang tercinta?
SMK Study Squad setiap Rabu 3 petang di Astro Twitter TV PT3 dan Astro Ceria.
Dragon Riders presenting you
dari pencipta How to Train Your Dragon.
What? Alright everyone, let's do this.
Siri terbaru yang hangat.
More Dragon Riders? Oh, come on. So here's how it works.
Kepayahan dan keseronokan menanti di sepanjang pengembaraan.
And you believe it? Wait for it. This is awesome.
Dragons Race to the Edge Series 1. Sewa dan stream on demand atau sila ke saluran 481.
Agenda AWANI Asia membawa anda melihat isu serantau dengan lebih dekat dan mendalam. Teknologi, ekonomi, pertanian, pendidikan dan apa jua topik akan kami kupaskan dalam Agenda AWANI Asia. Dapatkan fakta terkini mengenai Asia bersama-sama kami di Agenda AWANI Asia, Astro AWANI.
Bertemu lagi dalam Awani Pagi bersama saya Gigi dan juga Hafizi. Kita masih bercerita mengenai Kerana Korona, iaitu sebuah filem yang dikeluarkan atau diterbitkan oleh Astro Shaw yang telah pun menemui penonton bermula 21 Januari lalu di Astro First yang anda semua boleh menonton. Itu Kerana Korona ni, filem ini berkenaan dengan suka duka, pahit manis masyarakat Malaysia menjalani Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan atau PKP. Kita masih lagi menjalani PKP, tapi itu mungkin memori PKP yang pertama itu adalah filem yang dikeluarkan atau diarahkan oleh Kabir Bhatia, dan kita bersama dengan pengarahnya dan juga salah seorang pelakonnya, Umi Nazira. Kabir, we know you have been active directing a lot of film before, and when this pandemic occurred, it affected the entertainment industry. How you dealt with this situation, Kabir?
I'm still dealing with it, and so we're not out of it. But it was a strange thing because everything that's happened in the last 1 year, there have been opposites that there have been gains for the other side. Things have gone down, but someone else has gained as well. So it's a very, very strange phenomenon. Coming to cinema, I mean, the biggest hit, and I think going forward is going to be the cinema, the films in the cinema. People are going to be wary about going to the cinema theater. So a lot of us have stuck with our films, but then at the same time, OTT platforms have come up. Like, as you can see, more people sitting at home, they're still watching films. So you can still make films for the viewers because it's still immersive experience for people as long as the quality and the quantity of the product is good. And that also means that there's a little less risk for filmmakers because you put so much, effort and money, and it all depends. It's a luck thing as well. It's the mood of the people when you release it. So it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. People's televisions are bigger. People can watch things, wherever they want to watch it. Why not? So I don't think there's any issues with that. I suppose the first priority is to look at the what has just been made for the cinema people. I mean, the filmmakers who have made their films that are stuck. How are they going to go forward? And then, of course, the cinema theaters as well. I mean, how are they going to survive? So I think we as a film industry will survive. We'll just find another platform. And that's good because, it doesn't matter. What's going to happen to these people will be the first concern.
Yeah, Kabir, having you said that, so what is your opinion on how the industry players can continue to work and be creative during this pandemic?
Well, I mean, there are a few things. I think when it comes to the writing process, like I always say, they have to be a little bit more careful about how they write in the future. So maybe for a while you have to curtail the urge to make big films that move around a lot. However, if the government comes in and facilitates the movement, it's possible. I mean, it's still, sets are as disciplined as any other, industry. So, but we have to interact. We can't really sit in isolation and work. We can't do that. We can at a certain point before we start going into filming. After that, you need those backgrounds. And certain technologies like virtual filmmaking and all hasn't still caught up. It'll be expensive as well. So it still needs a lot of cooperation. It still needs discipline and zones, I suppose, that we can shoot in very locked down there, with the right atmosphere created for us. It can be done. So that's one effort one can make, but it still needs a collaborative effort with the government which can identify the movement. So we can't really start stopping every time. Every time we stop, we have a delay in all our projects. So everybody gets affected for months. And this is it, because we don't go to a factory. We don't really work in that manner. It's pure creativity. And for that, things have to be fluid for our industry. That's my first concern, I think, right off the bat. And then I think how the government plays into this would also be interesting to see.
Baik, kita nak teruskan kepada Umi. Umi sendiri melihat dengan apa yang berlaku sekarang, kita dalam keadaan ataupun kita masih lagi dalam Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan 2.0 yang saya katakan, kes yang semakin meningkat dan sebagainya. Apa kesukaran yang dihadapi oleh pelakon sendiri dalam meneruskan pencarian pendapatan ataupun dalam kita meneruskan kepada survival, terutama dalam bidang seni itu sendiri, kalau kita melihat secara keseluruhannya?
Sebagai pelakon, I think some of that pelakon bolehlah macam, sebab ramai yang cakap pelakon ataupun penyanyi, once you ataupun director sekali dapat projek, you get a lot. So at the same time, I think it's very important untuk kita sebagai orang seni untuk pandai
peluang baru.
Jaga kita punya savings lah. Tapi pada masa saya sebagai penggiat seni dan juga suami saya pun doktor yang pernah bekerja dekat PKP, saya pun dilema sebab saya tahu sebagai penggiat seni saya tahu ramai orang yang terjejas, tak semua ada dapat gaji besar dalam industri kita. Sebab kita ada head of department, contohnya head of department makeup artist, dan bawah head of department makeup artist dia ada lagi anak-anak buah dia yang gaji dia tak besar pun, sama juga dengan handyman, sama juga dengan kru teknikal. So kita ada ramai yang sebenarnya bukan gaji besar semua orang. Tapi pada masa yang sama, saya risau juga dengan frontliners kita. So saya tahu macam suami saya kerja dekat PKP sebelum ini, dia cakap everyone is lethargic. Ada yang sampai pukul 2 pagi baru balik because of contact tracing COVID. Terlampau ramai nak kena contact trace, kena pergi kerja balik. So saya sebagai rakyat Malaysia, I don't know what is the best. Dan saya tengok apa yang kerajaan sedang buat sekarang ni, saya doakan inilah yang terbaik sebab saya tahu kerajaan cuba sedaya upaya untuk make it balance on both sides. Cuma sekarang penggiat seni kesian sebab mereka langsung tak ada pendapatan at the moment kan. Dan saya tengok ramai macam kru-kru teknikal buat bisnes macam jual air, tapi bisnes baru start. So macam mana diorang nak cari customer dengan laju kan. So saya sebagai rakyat Malaysia dan juga penggiat seni hanya boleh mendoakan yang terbaik untuk semua orang lah. Dan berharap dengan adanya vaksin tak lama lagi, hujung bulan ni, sedikit sebanyak akan memberi impak kepada kes yang tengah menaik sekarang ni, dan tak lama lagi kita boleh go back to normal, insyaAllah. Amin.
Yeah, Kabir, with what Umi said just now, maybe you would like to give some suggestions to the entertainment industry or government at this time. Anything you want to suggest that can help people to in the industry at the moment, or maybe a solution to any party regarding to what is happening to the industry now, especially to those affected by the pandemic?
Well, I can try because I'm not an expert and I don't know what's going on, what they are planning, but what plays out in my mind would be, I think one would be, I think some kind of tax relief or some kind of waivers on any kind of loans would be welcome from the government. I think insurance is an important thing, should be mandatory on the set. Then I think vaccination for the crew would be, put us up there as well because we move around and that's the nature of our work. We should be given that as a priority as well. Then there should be, I think, across platforms kind of synergy with the government, so someone can, putting the other industries that are suffering, like you have the travel and this thing, or other places. Locations are very important for us. Maybe we can help each other. Those kind of things can be facilitated, and that those are the kind of places that we want to work in. I think at the same time, we should be also creating zones where we can attract foreign crews maybe. There are other countries that are having a bigger problem. And it's important that the government and the industry works together to make sure we can get those jobs. Because there are inquiries. There will be inquiries from India or somewhere else that they want to shoot stuff there. How do you get that in motion? How do you go back to 4 months ago when we had our low numbers? I think it still can be done because it can be done in certain parts of the country as well. I think the biggest hit is the cinema. So how do you get the people back into the cinema? I think that's down the line, but that's something we need to fix. I think that's the biggest problem. I'm not sure what they're thinking, but I do believe that they are trying to invest. The cinema people are trying to invest in the business, and that also comes to another thing where the networks can play a very big role in the future. The networks are the ones that are benefiting the most. The networks can go into a studio system where because they need to produce stuff, they need to produce content, they can create a environment for us. They can give us a home, like how they have it in different studios. And then, so you'll be going constantly to work for the network, which is fine, and like the other platforms do it. So that would help a lot, starting up producing within the network and hiring, good producers and giving them that home. So it's a long-term thing, provided that COVID is always going to be around. And I think also at the same time, one of the more important things that they can do immediately is that, look, we have contracts that are going to be played out into the year. If the government can use those contracts to loan the money or to give some relief and collect it back from producers, that might help. That would be really good because all our jobs move, but we have signing amounts that could be given to us or certain loans on that job because you already contracted to do the job. Those kind of things will really help. Yeah.
Ya, good suggestion Kabir. Umi sendiri mungkin ada harapan kepada industri dan mungkin harapan kepada pihak-pihak berkaitan ketika ini, kerana pastinya yang terlibat ataupun terjejas ketika ini bukan saja pelakon, tetapi banyak lagi kru-kru dan juga mungkin catering juga terlibat, terjejas kerana tak ada penggambaran dilakukan. Umi sendiri harapannya bagaimana?
Saya rasa kalau kita ada royalty sekarang ni, benda ni takkan jadi satu masalah lah untuk industri entertainment kita. Seperti mana yang macam Hollywood semua, diorang ada royalties kan. So itulah yang saya harap dengan orang atasan kita dalam industri entertainment ni boleh fight untuk kita dan make sure benda tu akan. Sebab benda ni dah bertahun-tahun dah. Saya dalam industri dah sejak umur saya 16 tahun. So dah 14-15 tahun dah saya dengar tentang hal ini, dan sampai sekarang benda ni masih belum solved. So saya harap itu boleh lah, itulah harapan saya untuk orang-orang seni, penggiat seni semua. Sebab kita tahu veteran macam hari tu Fazan Nawawi pun cakap kalau boleh dia nak pergi menghadap aku kan. Kita sedih tau dengar benda-benda macam tu. Sebab kita tahu macam Fazan Nawawi pun dia dah kehilangan anak lelaki dia kan, satu-satunya anak lelaki dia yang boleh tolong dia. So benda-benda macam tu yang very sad to hear, dan saya harap benda ni ada perubahan lah di masa hadapan.
Okey, baik Umi, sebelum kita berpisah ni, mungkin ramai dah tengok Kerana Korona ni, tapi masih ramai mungkin lagi yang belum tengok. Apa pesanan Umi buat penonton-penonton di luar sana secara ringkas ni Umi?
Cerita ni sebenarnya dia bukan satu cerita yang suspend. Ada setengah saya punya peminat yang macam, oh ya kan cerita ni suspend. Tak, sebenarnya cerita ni cerita yang it's about family, it's about rakyat Malaysia, apa yang rakyat Malaysia tengah lalui. Contohnya macam macam awal-awal dulu kita dengar macam minum air lemon bagus, boleh prevent kita daripada COVID-19. So, ataupun suami isteri yang tak boleh keluar rumah, kena duduk kat rumah, in the end isteri tangkap suami ada orang lain. Things like that. Dia adalah cerita tentang rakyat Malaysia, apa yang mereka lalui semasa PKP. Yang degil, orang tua degil, cakap jangan keluar rumah, nak juga keluar rumah. Ayah saya, Jalani Hassan dalam cerita ni. Very funny. I think it's a light movie. Very, time-time kita tengah stress ni, tengoklah cerita-cerita yang light yang boleh buat kita ketawa kan. So, I think you guys should watch it.
Ya, baik, terima kasih Umi Nazira, dan we would like to say thanks to Kabir. Thank you for being with us. Dan itu tadi Umi Nazira dan juga pengarah Kerana Korona Kabir Bhatia. Daripada anda di luar sana, jangan lupa saksikan Kerana Korona kerana telah pun ditayangkan tentunya di saluran Astro First. Dengan itu sekian saja, saya Jijak Ahmad.
Saya Hafiz Rosli. Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera.